ChatGPT has been really doing some great updates to alleviate that burden because people are so challenged by trying to create stuff that's good and having it come out terribly. There's a new update that will actually allow you to create an infographic, which obviously is going to have a lot of text in it, and it seems to be pretty good. So yeah, there's a lot of advancement there. It's been really awesome to see.
Well, one of my tasks for today is to look at the Microsoft Designer product today. And I feel really guilty because I've got 30 years of IT background. And yesterday, my crafty wife, has known as the embossing queen online, she asked me, what about this Microsoft Designer stuff? And I felt so guilty that my crafty wife is asking me a tech question, and I'm a Microsoft beta tester since 1991.
Wow.
And I didn't have the answer for her. So shame on me.
That's really funny. Wow, that's incredible. Really cool. So tell me more about your mergers and acquisitions AI. I was completely enamored by your presentation online when you were presented to JT. To the JT Fox organization. I was really, really interested. I'm going to be joining their M7A program. Excuse me. As you know, excuse me. And so, as you know, I'm very interested in AI in general, but when you brought forth this mergers and acquisitions utilizing AI tool, I said, oh man, I got to talk to that guy. So tell me a little bit more about how you arrived at this tool and what it does.
Well, I'm so grateful that you got something out of it, considering that I had less than an hour to put that presentation together.
That's amazing.
It was a bit of a rush here and there, but I'm so pleased that I did get a very big response from that, I've got to say. Looking through your history, you've gone from being incredibly people-focused through to being scientific, through to the technology side. You've covered the whole breadth in your career, which is just astounding, and I'm most impressed by that. But with that, you've got to think that in every business, it's all about the people. Everything is about people in some fashion. That's what it comes down to. You've got to have good people. You have got to have happy people. You've got to have successful people. And you've got to give people a way to look forward, to achieve things, to achieve their dreams. I know that isn't quite the answer you expected there, but that's where it starts from. So now, how can we do that better? How can, with mergers and acquisitions and roll-ups, and there is a definite difference between the two of them, by the way. Mergers and acquisitions is the traditional model of go in, take something, bring it in and suck it all in and hit it with a hammer and make it work within your business. That's not really how I like to work. And even when I've been doing M&As for the last 20 odd years, that still isn't the way that I've liked to work. It's all been about the people. So with roll-ups, the first thing is you've got to find the right industry in the right location. You're dealing with people's lives here, so you need to be careful, because if you go in there and you try and force this square peg into a round hole, it's going to break people, it's going to break people's lives. So you've got to be careful of that. So do your due diligence and find the right area and the right industry. And these days with AI, we have such great tools to be able to do that initial investigation. And do you mind if I share a bit with you? Would that be okay?
No, that would be great.
Okay, let me bring this up while I talk, if that's okay. And I will show you that exact same presentation and talk you through it a little bit, and your guests through it a little bit, to explain, with every business, you have a standard things that you need to achieve. You need to achieve the finances. You need to achieve some sort of understanding between the businesses, your clients, your vendors. You've got to find out all the numbers from a financial perspective, and you've got to get those right, because if the finances aren't right, it's not going to work for the people either. What I was trying to explain was that for every business, there are certain things that you need. You need to understand the size of the market here. You need to understand your competition. what complementary businesses fit in, all your finances, all your operational factors, your geographic preferences, all of those need responses for you to do an assessment to get the right industry and the right location. And as you can see, there's quite a few other things here. So what I've gone and done is I've gone and written all these scripts to say, okay, set the location as New Zealand and the industry is dental practices, and create a basic buy box for that industry in that location. And then I can go in and tweak that. And the next one would be list potential industries for roll-ups. So within that, what are good industries? And then now you get down to your initial tests of the industry. What's the TAM? What's the scaling and the growth and the pain opportunity and the pain points in that industry? What are your customer demand trends? Are there complementary businesses?
Let me ask you quickly, are these prompts that
these are prompts within the AI? Yeah.
So in your AI, this sheet that I'm looking at here is a Word document. So you're taking the AI output and pasting it in here to create the report.
I take those questions, I plonk it into AI, because from this, I have ordered these questions in order of priority to discount an industry if they don't fit my requirements. I don't want to have to go through and produce a 150-page report and ask all these questions if I can eliminate an industry by this stage, by 1.2. If I can eliminate it by 1.3, even, that's fine. If the regulatory requirements are too bad, then the output.
I'll sign an NDA if you want me to, but I'm a big prompter. And so I'll just tell you, Craig, I'm writing a book using AI right now. So I have a podcast. You probably saw I'm adopted. I'm in reunion with my biological family members. And I have a podcast where I interview other adopted people about their own journeys. I've taken all 250 episodes of my show, put it into a Word doc, put that doc into a ChatGPT project, and I'm just pounding on that document for all kinds of adoption scenarios. So I'm very good now at prompting for what I need. So that's why I'm super interested to see what your prompts are in this area.
Well, I literally showed you my prompts. I wasn't holding back. I'm not a person that holds back at all. These, the green bits, these are the prompts. The vacant cells below, that is the results. So these are the types of results that I'm getting. See, these are the prompts. I've given them to you.
Amazing.
No holding back. These are the buy box. It comes back with that list of potential industries. So it's given me candidates that I can go and look at. Check industry reports, give me the TAM. Now, how does the TAM compare? And it gives me the details down here. So then what I've done is, and let's bring up an Excel document. Okay, here's where you come into your NDA pretty much at this stage.
Okay. I'm giving you a verbal and
okay, done, because this is where I start to really make a difference. All that data that you've seen from all those prompts, it then comes into this. So what I've done is I've created a generic industry overview. Now, when you come into this and you want to go in front of a client, prospects, a business that you want to then take over, these are the types of questions you want to know. What are their biggest issues? What are their daily routines? Now, I should already have those biggest issues. I've extracted those through ChatGPT as an example. I can't fill in the daily and weekly and monthly routines, that sort of stuff, and their hopes. But what I can do is come over here and see this green stuff. Anything green, I can fill in. So I then take the ChatGPT output and plug it into this spreadsheet, and it creates a financial template of industry standard for me.
That's amazing.
Isn't that brilliant? And then what I could do is I can walk into an individual business and I can say, hey, what are your numbers? And I can enter their numbers in here and do a comparison to say, oh, you're up here, you're down here. This is way out of whack. Red flag. Need to investigate this further, but there is more. So it also goes in and it does the valuation. Remember, green, you can enter details into. Then the products, because one of the prompts is provide the top selling products in that industry, provide the top 10 products in that industry, give me their average sell price, buy price. So I get all this information, it extracts it out of AI and it puts it into this spreadsheet for me. So now when I go to talk to someone, I can ask them the same question and type in their numbers right here and there and see how they compare. And the same with service products. I can type those details. It fills it in and it types it in. And I get to type it in on an individual case. So I can
do have manual processes here. AI generates all the data, but you do have to manually bring it over to Excel. Is that correct?
Not anymore. That's where I was 2 weeks ago.
I love to hear this. This is great.
That's where I was 2 weeks ago. You've got to keep up, I'm afraid, Damon.
With you, Greg.
Things move fast around here. So as part of my tool here for this is in front of the client, this is totally specific to the client, I can't get any of this information from AI at all. This is all based on the individual business. However, this one over here, this is the interesting one too. This messed with my mind, it really did. So how I go into a client and they say, oh, I want to make $1 million a year clear profit. Wow, okay. So up in cell B3, I type in $1 million. I've already got their top 3 products, haven't I? That's already filled in. I've already got how much they sell for because that's already filled in from another sheet that they've already given me.
Right.
Now, I've already got what percentage of their products they're spending or they're selling of that already as well, because that came from another sheet. This provides a pathway of success to get them to what they need and what they want. It shows the exact number here of how much they need to sell of that particular product. So then the question becomes, how do we do that? How do we make that happen for them?
That's what I was wondering.
We know what the pathway is.
Yeah.
We just need to put the strategies in place now because they don't have the strategies. They don't have the experience. You think that we've got off the topic of roll-ups. We haven't. This is all part of the roll-up. I'll just stop sharing so we can get back to our discussion now.
That was amazing. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome. And I have to put an ad in here, I'm afraid, Damon, because your audience just missed all that. But if they want to catch up, talk to Damon and he can put you in contact with me and we can make something happen and we can go through that information. At that stage, all you've got is audio, no visuals. Sorry about that. Hang on a sec, just before.
Go ahead.
I have all of that subject was all still on roll-ups because a part of roll-ups is making their business better. Their business is where their business is right now because of what they know, because of their skill set right now. Right now, I'm doing a dental roll-up. And guess what dentists are good at? They're good at sticking things in people's mouths. That's what they're good at. And I probably shouldn't do that with a fist. That's probably a bit amateurish, a bit disrespectful, but they're good at sticking things in people's mouths. They're not good at business. That isn't what they're trained for. Yeah. That isn't their experience. They haven't got the time. They're too busy serving their customers. So that's what roll-ups is about. You need to have your exit in mind. You need to bring the right people in early to get your business up to scratch so that you can be paid out once for your business, paid out again for your business, and possibly even paid 3 times for your business. Sorry, back to you, but I needed to finish that off.
No, that's incredibly helpful, and you're absolutely right. Having spent a lot of time in the healthcare industry, and I know a lot of physicians. I've spoken with them about the fact that the business of being a doctor is not something they're taught. They're taught how to be a doctor, how to be a dentist, how to do their specialty, but not necessarily how to run a healthy business. And those are two completely different skill sets. So I can
Wildly
appreciate what you're
different.
talking about, right? The idea that you could be very successful in your business, but not have the business acumen to get it to a place of being efficient such that with what you've invested so far, you could actually, maximize your profits in ways that you didn't even know simply because you're ignorant of what you don't know. So I'm with
And
you.
that isn't a reflection on who they are.
That's
That's
right.
just a reflection that they are totally focused on serving their clients and being
Mhm.
exceptional at what they do.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. So how did you come to developing this AI driven model for A? Because, we're looking at AI for literally everything. And I heard you say earlier, you've been doing this for 20 plus years. Tell me how you arrived at this moment of creating an AI model for
Well, here's your headline for this podcast, Damon. I don't believe in AI.
really. Say more.
I was involved in IT since the late 80s. In the early 90s, I developed a system to go out to everybody's computer because I was managing networks around the world, and go out to everybody's computer, look at their event log, which contains everything that happens on their computer, and find out what I could accept, what I couldn't accept, what I could accept on that computer, what I couldn't accept on that computer, and send me the results, any exceptions thereafter. And over time, I would narrow it down because I would have access to thousands of computers, and I'd narrow down what was important and what wasn't. What I was doing back in the early 90s was I was creating a huge data lake of understanding of data, how it was relevant. And you're from the health industry, the most important thing is vast amounts of data. The more data you can get, the more you can make better decisions.
The higher quality
So
that data is.
that's right. So I was creating this back in the early 90s. Guess what? It wasn't called AI back then. It was just called being lazy and smart, in that I had created this system so that I knew when a computer was going to fail, how it was going to fail, and I'd be able to send a computer out there in advance and get them operational before that computer failed. So how did I create this? Well, I know what is necessary. I literally gave you the table of contents there for what you need to do, what you need to assess for a roll-up. Then I literally went in and I asked the questions over and over and over again until I created a relevant query or prompt, as they called in AI, prompt that would give me the data in a format that was relevant and suitable for the next stage of that Excel spreadsheet. And yes, I could build an application, but I've done this for myself. It wasn't something that I was going out to sell to people. So then I needed to get it in the format that was suitable so that it could go into Excel and come across and be fully automated. I can do an analysis of any business industry in any location in 30 minutes. At the moment, I am hoping to get that down to under a minute in the next couple of weeks.
Wow.
That analysis prior to this would have taken a team of people 4 weeks to do.
Yeah, I was thinking that's a month's worth of work at least. That's incredible. What is the difference then between your current 30 minutes of analysis that's going to take it down to under a minute? What are the things that need to change to go from what was 4 weeks of a team of people to 30 minutes for one person to under a minute for one person? What's that 30 minute to 1 minute difference in?
4 weeks down to 30 minutes. That's purely just getting raw data. That's just getting the data right. Now it's a matter of just perfecting those transfer from one environment to another environment, to that Excel spreadsheet, and getting all that integration correct. For me, that's probably another week or two away.
Are you mapping a text file, or is it ASCII? What is it that's in the background that's allowing it to go out of AI over to Excel?
We are getting down to it, aren't we? Yes, you are correct. What I'm doing is dumping it This is great. And people don't generally ask me tech questions. So I'm exporting it to a text file.
Yeah.
Then I'm going back to something that I've been using since the late 80s, and that's DOS. And I'm
That's what I
using a
figured.
find command,
Mhm.
find/v.
Wow.
And then
Yeah,
I'm
that's old
pumping.
school for sure.
It works. Why go something? Because I know that these prompts are going to work. I know that DOS is never going to go away. There's old classic cartoons of spacemen with COBOL as a dead language. Well, the same goes for DOS. It's not going to go away anytime soon. So
Right.
this is going to work. So what I'm creating is something durable that doesn't matter about the technology. It will work, and I won't have to redo it again. Again, back to that word lazy and efficient, or those two words, lazy and efficient, because I don't like having to redo my work. So what I'm doing is I'm searching for those words, putting it into a text file, then I'm using another DOS command, a for in do, where I'm passing parameters through to another text file and importing it straight into Excel after.
Oh, that's brilliant. Really, really cool. So
It's simple,
let's go
but
back to
effective.
oh, absolutely. And those are the best solutions, right? Sometimes we're trying to craft all these major complicated things, and the simple and effective stuff is often the best way to go. Let me ask you this. Let's go back to your actual process. Have you deployed this successfully in your own mergers and acquisitions body of work?
Absolutely.
Tell me about the success.
I'm doing dental roll-ups here in Australia. That's my focus. And that is my focus for all of 2025. What this script does is it not only finds the industries and the locations, but I also ask it questions. So what businesses are for sale right now? Who are the industry or the professionals that do these types of sales? So then I've made contact with those industry professionals, been out to lunch with them and started to develop a relationship with them, showing them what I'm doing as well. So that builds credibility, because all of this requires credibility, and they need to understand that you're not just a flash in the pan, that you have what it takes to work with their clients and to be successful with them. So that was step one. Then we had to move on to step two. Okay, what are their issues? And their issues are that people come to them and they just want to sell their business. Well, you used the word ignorant before. That may be not the best way to go, but it is the only way that these dentists, as an example, know how to do it, because that's how they got their business. They bought it off someone else. It's the only thing that they know. So education then. Then what I've been doing is I've been flooding the market with social media posts that my AI, by the way, that same script down the bottom, it creates a list of the 50 biggest objections and 50 biggest problems within the industry. And then it writes the social media posts for me as well. Then I just schedule those to take place. And so I'm flooding the social media with problems and solutions that relate to me and relate to roll-ups. And that way, when I meet someone, they go and do their research, Craig Keegan Dental, and who pops up? Me, along with all my articles. So
That's
I
incredible.
then become
Love
the
it.
authority within the industry.
That authority building is really important, and you're absolutely right. The process by which you can flood the market with social media, with thought leadership pieces on blogs, talking about some of your findings, but also having some of those findings be generated by AI. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Well, those findings, not only are they generated by AI, but then the solutions are generated as well. Then the posts for Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn articles, Pinterest, Twitter. Sorry, is it X or is it AIX or whatever Twitter's called these days?
It's impossible to know anymore, isn't it? Yeah, that's really incredible.
So yes, all of those are auto-generated for me. Obviously vetted, but auto-generated.
Yeah.
And I create 40 of those in one big slab. That way,
That's
and then
incredible.
schedule those. That way I become the authority. So then we go in, sorry.
No. I was going to ask, what is your biggest challenge then right now? I mean, AI makes it sound like things are so easy, but every process has challenges in it. Tell me what are some of your biggest challenges at this moment?
Biggest challenge is that people don't think that you know anything. They don't. You've got to build that credibility. It is all about becoming that authority in the industry, because we've had bad experiences with this. We've had this in the past. Fine. Talk to me. Now, I want to go back to the difference between mergers and acquisitions and roll-ups to give you a bit of an idea there. Roll-ups are a solution for a founder, a flexible solution for a founder. For example, you come across a dentist, as an example, and he says, hey, want to get into a more administrative role. I don't want to be a dentist anymore. Excellent. We've got a program for that. We've got a role for that. You could become the area manager of our roll-ups and you could look after that. Oh, but I want to get down into the tools again. I don't want to be managing a site. Excellent. We've got a group general manager, area manager, and he can take care of all of the pains for you, and you can get down onto the tools. You just turn up each day and do your role. I want to be paid out now. Excellent. We've got a program for that. You take 70% now, leave 30% in, and that 30% will get you the same amount of money back as that 70% in 3 years' time. Oh, I don't want to be managing. What I'm trying to say here is, whatever their problem is with a roll-up, whatever their problems are, there is a way to adapt it with a roll-up. You don't get that flexibility with a merger and acquisition. With a merger and acquisition, there is a playbook. There's a template. You go in there and you put the template over and you smooth out all the edges and make it fit.
Yeah.
That isn't the same with a roll-up. With a roll-up, it's customizable to that individual founder. And it's very personal to, I've got a great number two. I don't want to lose them. They deserve better. Excellent.
Yeah.
How about we get them their own facility, or we move them up and we can put them as an area clinical care manager.
Yeah, that's where the synergy comes in. Some of those processes that are inherent to every business but aren't specific or unique to them. They've all got that back office that has an accounting system and a phone system and I'm thinking of Go High Level, the customer relations management tool, right? All of those things can be rolled up for greater efficiency and cost effectiveness. That makes sense. It'd be really cool. That's really cool. I love it. I love it. Well, for anybody who wants to get in touch with you, Craig, how would one do so? Really cool. Very good. Well, thanks for making time. This has been very inspiring. As I said, I'm going to be working with JT Fox and Adam Coffey and Dennis / going to be, they're going to be putting together an M&A program that is training folks on how to get engaged with M&A and these roll-ups and understand better what some of these things that you talked about are, which was what brought me to you. The fact that JT is focusing on mergers and acquisitions with, probably 70 to 80% of his time is an important place of focus. I've heard about the drought of individuals who want to take over some of these companies that the baby boomers are going to be selling, and that there's significant opportunity for folks who want to get engaged in this space. And so I've always been interested in business. I got an MBA many years ago, and business has always been sort of in my background. So I'm enjoying this opportunity to dig deeper and get engaged. And tools like what you're offering here are going to be absolutely spectacular. So I'm going to take my AI skill set and your expertise and hopefully build something amazing. So thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. Absolutely, man. Thank you so much. I'm excited about it. I've got multiple things in the irons in the fire right now, but I'm going to be really, truly hyper focused on this. So this is going to be exciting times. Craig, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate it, man.